Aprilia is dominating MotoGP. 5 consecutive victories for Bezzecchi. Martin hauling in points at a staggering rate. And Marquez, the man who once owned circuits like COTA, just crashed at 190 kilometers per hour, took a penalty, and finished nowhere near where he should have. Something has shifted in this sport. The question is whether this is a bad weekend or the moment MotoGP changes forever. Friday morning at COTA, Marc Marquez rolled out onto a circuit he once ruled. Within minutes, the weekend took a violent turn. Pushing hard through turn 10, the rear of his Ducati snapped loose at 190 kilometers per hour. Marquez was flung from the bike, sliding through gravel and slamming into the barriers. He escaped with battered leathers, raw skin, and a stiff neck. No broken bones, but the pain was clear as he limped back to the garage. Mechanics rushed to piece the Ducati back together. Marquez, refusing to back down, returned to the track and still clocked the 4th fastest lap in FP1. But the crash left its mark, physically and mentally. Saturday brought no relief. In the sprint race, Marquez lined up with intent, but the aggression backfired. On the first lap, he dived for a gap on the back straight, colliding with Fabio Di Giannantonio. Both riders tangled, Marquez losing control and sending Di Giannantonio wide. Race direction acted quickly, handing Marquez a long lap penalty for causing the incident. He accepted responsibility, but the penalty dropped him out of podium contention. 4th place in the sprint was a hollow result for a rider who once dominated this track. Sunday's main event offered no redemption. After serving his penalty, Marquez struggled to recover positions. The bike lacked the edge, and every overtake cost precious time. At the flag, he finished outside the top 4, a result unthinkable in his prime at COTA. Across 3 days, the pattern was unmistakable. A crash, a penalty, and a finish that barely registered in the title fight. For Marquez, the weekend was a catalog of setbacks, each one chipping away at the aura of invincibility. Marc Marquez stepped off the bike on Sunday with his jaw clenched and his eyes hard. In the garage, his helmet came off with a frustrated snap. The usual swagger was gone. Reporters pressed in, but his answers were clipped and his gaze restless. For a rider who once greeted setbacks with a crooked smile and defiance, the change was unmistakable. He did not deflect blame or reach for excuses. Instead, in front of the cameras, he admitted fault for the sprint collision. He said that was on him, his voice flat and his shoulders tight. The words landed heavy. Body language told the rest. Marquez paced behind the pit wall, head down, hands gripping the back of his neck. Mechanics avoided his path. Normally, he would be deep in data with his crew, plotting revenge for the next session. This time, he lingered on the margins, silent, watching rivals celebrate. Even in the post-race debrief, he struggled to hide his agitation, tapping his foot, shifting in the seat, eyes darting to the timing screens as if searching for an answer that would not come. When asked about the bike, Marquez's tone was sharper than usual. He spoke of lacking edge grip, of mistakes he should not be making. He said we are missing something, his frustration leaking through every word. The pressure was visible. The confidence that once intimidated the paddock was now replaced by doubt. For the first time in years, Marquez looked less like the hunter and more like the hunted, forced to react, forced to explain, and for a moment forced to wonder if the old magic was slipping away. From the moment the lights went out, Marquez found himself on the back foot. The Ducati stuttered off the line and lost vital positions before the first corner. Rivals surged ahead while Marquez was boxed in, fighting for space instead of dictating the pace. Each lost spot forced him into attack mode, late on the brakes and desperate to claw back ground. But every hard move came at a price. Tire temperatures spiked early as he pushed through traffic, forcing the rear Pirelli to work overtime before it settled into its ideal range. By mid-race, the consequences were clear. The extra energy spent in those frantic opening laps left the tires cooked, grip fading just as the leaders began to stretch away. Lap times dropped off, especially in the final sector, where Marquez's lines grew ragged and defensive. Instead of managing the race from the front, he was locked in a cycle of chasing, overtaking, and wearing out his equipment. The deficit at the start did not just cost positions, it set off a chain reaction that eroded any chance of a late charge. For Marquez, poor launches were no longer a fluke. They had become a recurring weakness, and the tactical cost was mounting with every race. Long before the lights go out, Marquez carries the scars of a career spent on the edge. Multiple shoulder and arm surgeries have left him with reduced strength off the line, a hidden tax that grows with every start. The launch that once came so naturally now demands everything his body can give, yet it often isn't enough. As the season drags on, fatigue sets in earlier. The muscles that once shrugged off G-forces begin to protest, especially in the final laps when every ounce of control matters most. When Marquez fights through the pack, it's not just rivals he's battling. It's the dull ache in his right shoulder, the arm that doesn't always respond with the precision it once did. Endurance fades quicker than it used to. Each overtaking move, each last-ditch braking maneuver, draws from a reservoir that isn't as deep as it was 5 years ago. The pain isn't obvious on the timing sheets, but it shows up in the details. A missed apex, a slower reaction, a launch that loses half a second. Rivals sense the vulnerability and press harder, knowing that every physical limit reached by Marquez is a tactical opening for them. The body that made him a champion is now the silent opponent he can't leave behind. In Noel, Aprilia's engineers have been relentless. The RS GP26 didn't just arrive as an evolution, it landed as a statement. Every surface, every contour, every hidden duct was reimagined for one purpose: to close the gap to Ducati and then surpass it. The most visible change came in mid-2025, when Aprilia's leg wings burst onto the scene. These sculpted fins, jutting from the seat unit, pressed the bike harder into the asphalt under braking and through corners, letting riders brake later and lean deeper. But that was only the beginning. The side fairings adopted a ground effect profile, channeling air beneath the bike to create low pressure and suction, grip not just from the tires, but from the wind itself. This ground effect technology, once the domain of Formula One, now gave Aprilia riders confidence to attack at lean angles others feared. Factory investments surged. Fabiano Sterlachini's technical office doubled its prototyping pace, pushing new aero packages and chassis tweaks from concept to racetrack in weeks, not months. The APX electronics suite kept pace, letting riders tailor traction and engine braking corner by corner. By the second half of 2026, the RS GP26 was no longer chasing benchmarks. It was setting them. Ducati's edge in straight-line speed and stability was under siege, not by a single upgrade, but by a wave of innovation that made Aprilia the most complete machine on the grid. Marco Bezzecchi has turned Aprilia's technical leap into a relentless points machine. Fresh off his 5th straight Grand Prix victory, he has led 121 consecutive laps, something not seen since the days of Rossi and Marquez in their prime. At COTA, Bezzecchi did not just win. He started from 4th, sliced through the leaders on the opening lap, and never gave up the front. Every move looked calculated, every lap a statement. He now sits at the top of the championship, his confidence growing with each race. Jorge Martin has matched that energy with a different kind of threat. In the COTA sprint, he gambled on a medium rear tire, alone in the field, and pulled off his first sprint win for Aprilia. On Sunday, he chased Bezzecchi to the line, locking in a second consecutive podium and nearly stealing the championship lead after the sprint. Martin's points haul is climbing fast, and his form at tracks that once tripped him up is a warning to every rival. Together, Bezzecchi and Martin have put Aprilia in control of the standings, forcing Marquez to fight a two-pronged assault. The title fight is not just about one challenger anymore. It is a double threat. and the pressure is only rising. Right now, the gap is real, and every weekend Aprilia widens it. The old order slips further away. Marquez faces rivals faster and fitter than ever. The fight for MotoGP supremacy is not just about talent anymore. This is the era when power shifts and legends risk being left behind.